Uh-oh.
Hello and welcome to Mount Juliet High School, home of the Mount Juliet Golden Bears. I'm Shay Flatt, joined by Zach Tompkins and Caleb Chalbay here in the booth tonight as the Golden Bears are 7-0 and they look to run it to 8-0 against McGavock. They've beaten McGavock 2 years in a row coming in, look to make it 3 here at the Mel Brown Athletic Complex. Zach, what are we looking for tonight?
Oh, yeah, Shay. Good to be here once again, and glad we could have Caleb with us tonight. Excited about this ball game. I just got to say, the status quo for Mount Juliet this evening. Just maintain the offense like they've done all season long. Stay strong. Alvin Mixon coming off a strong game last week against Rossview. I believe he had 3 touchdown passes in that game. Looked really strong. Got to improve on that this evening and keep this offense rolling, keep this mojo going as we enter the late part of the season, and especially at the end of region play here coming up in the next couple of weeks, and getting ready for these playoffs coming up here in about next month.
Sure. Mixon 100% passing last week, 6 of 6 through the air, and really needs to continue that for Mount Juliet to sustain that great offensive play. And I'm going to kick it over to Caleb Chalbay. If you don't know, he needs no introduction. Former quarterback and point guard here at Mount Juliet. Caleb, happy to have you, buddy.
Thank you, Shay. I appreciate you guys having me. I was around this bunch in the spring. They've got tremendous athleticism. The coaching staff does a great job at preparing for games through practice. So I'm excited to put my eyes on them for the first time. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're happy to have you, Caleb. And for those that don't know, Chalbay worked with this football team a lot during the spring, specifically, I believe, with the running backs.
It was the wide receivers,
wide receivers this spring. So very, very, very familiar with this current Mount Juliet football roster, and we're happy to have an alumni here in the booth with us. That makes 3 Golden Bears in the booth.
I love it.
Looks like McGavock's going to receive the ball from Mount Juliet to start the game. McGavock enters 3-4, 3-1 in region play, and Zach, they finish with a tough 3-game slate to end the year. They got Mount Juliet tonight, Cane Ridge next week, and they finish up with Smyrna. So going to be a tough 3-game stretch to end the year for McGavock, and it starts here tonight in Mount Juliet.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they're looking to kind of get some momentum going forward as they enter these last few games. Trying to make a playoff push. 3-1 in their region. So, I mean, having a good year as far as their region is concerned. Out of region game here tonight. Going to be a tough test for them this evening here in the Bear Den. Just hopefully they're trying to look to get off to a good start right here on this opening drive, and going to be tough against this good Bears defense. So here we go.
All right, and we are underway. Kick was towards Brandon Pace, number 8, but it goes through the end zone for a touchback. McGavock's going to start 1st and 10 at the 20. Mount Juliet's defense, another great year for them. They enter this contest with McGavock averaging 4 points per game. The most they've allowed in a single game all year was 10. They allowed that against Lebanon and last week in a rout against Rossview.
I'm excited to see this guy Rutland live.
Oh, Michael Rutland, what a stud in the defensive backfield for Mount Juliet. Here's Tyler Neal for McGavock. Runs right, loses a few yards. Looks like it's going to be about 2nd and 14 for McGavock.
I believe McGavock's going to – they had to find some – we've watched this Mount Juliet defense all year long, and it seems like the best way to attack this Mount Juliet defense is short passes through the air. So McGavock running in a shotgun spread-style offense, hopefully they can put the ball in the air for them and gain some yardage early.
Here's Tyler Neal. He's going to throw the swing pass to the left. It's incomplete. 3rd and 14 for McGavock. Not what you want against this Mount Juliet defensive line. They're going to be able to tee off here on 3rd and long.
It was probably in his best interest that he didn't catch that ball.
Yeah. He was going to be stopped for a very short gain, if anything, even if he did catch it.
Marcelo Walton coming in on him right there, really heavying down.
Here's Tyler Neal again. He's going to throw the swing pass. That's number 17, Cavante Doris. He is wrapped up and brought down at the 21-yard line. It's going to be 4th and 9 for McGavock, and they'll have to punt to start this football game.
Jace Pardue on the tackle right there. Good job by the Mount Juliet defense, playing a little cover 2 action right there, kind of sitting back, allowing them to make the catch in front of them, making sure they're wrapping them up, get the tackle, force the punt. I believe we have
Colby Martin and Devin Palmer.
Devin
for Mount Juliet.
Block punt.
Colby Martin's got some speed to him, guys.
And Martin will take it. He fields it at the 38, cuts up to the 45, to the 50. He's out just across midfield. Mount Juliet will start 1st and 10 at the McGavock 49.
Stop made by Dante Lewis. 1st and 10, Golden Bears.
I do want to point out one of the rising stars for Mount Juliet's offense, Cameron Malone, the sophomore wingback, suffered an injury late in the game last week against Rossview. He'll be unavailable tonight as Mount Juliet's offense is without one of their wingbacks, and Malone was averaging 13 yards per carry on the season coming in. And here's Mixon out of the shotgun to start the game for Mount Juliet. He's got Rutland, fakes the handoff. He's going to gain about 1.
I will say about Cam Malone, tough to see that happen to a good young kid, good runner for this offense. I believe it was a torn MCL that he came down with. So, but thankfully not an ACL. So that's a relatively shorter recovery as far as ACL MCL goes. But we wish all the best to that young man right there.
I tell you what, you guys need to be on the lookout for Cam Malone. That young sophomore has got some talent.
He absolutely does.
Stud in the backfield for Mount Juliet. Here's Alvin Mixon. He'll draw back to throw. Wants his favorite target, Malik Bowen, deep. What a catch by Malik Bowen down to the 5-yard line.
Wow.
Malik Bowen, 42 yards and a first down, and he's an absolute stud, Zach. He shredded Rossview all last week on the road, and he starts right where he left off last week, a big 42-yard reception to start.
Malik Bowen, through 7 games, has 13 completions for 330 yards, 5 touchdowns. I misspoke earlier when I said Mixon had 3 touchdowns last week. He only had 2, but he should have had 3. I believe they called some sort of a penalty that prevented Bowen from getting in there, but what an absolute phenomenon of an athlete.
There's Mixon, goes left. He swallowed up down to about the 2. It'll be 2nd and goal for Mount Juliet from there.
That's what makes this offense so special. So many things, so many misdirections going on in the backfield. It's hard for the defense to keep an eye on the football.
And then when you can hit them over the top, throwing the ball to somebody like Bowen, I mean, so far, you know, and I know we sometimes talk about the competition the Mount Juliet plays, but nobody's been able to guard this guy. I mean, they're going to have to eventually put 2 guys on this on Bowen, which is going to open up some of those running lanes for these other athletes that Mount Juliet has.
I want to see if they'll go over top and let number 2 do his thing over there.
There's Mixon, fumbled the ball. I think it was recovered by Mount Juliet for a touchdown.
Recovered in the end zone.
I think Marcelo Walton got in there and recovered it. We'll see. Yeah, he did get in there and recover it, but they're going to mark him shy of the goal line.
Oh.
So 3rd and goal, and Mount Juliet catches a break there.
Here, I hate to say it, but having trouble with the snap. I hope that doesn't continue. It's been kind of a common theme for this Golden Bear team so far this year.
Yeah, it's been a problem all year. Here's Mixon. He's going to go straight ahead. He scores. Touchdown, Alvin Mixon. Oh, McGavock saying they got the ball. You're right, Caleb.
No signal.
Touchdown.
Touchdown.
That was scary.
Back-to-back scares for Mount Juliet, but they do lead 6-0 on the quarterback sneaker for Alvin Mixon.
That's another Golden Bear touchdown.
That is Mixon's 4th touchdown rush on the year. Glad he was able to hold on to that thing over the goal line.
Brewington's point after touchdown's up and good. 7-0 Mount Juliet. And Caleb, I want to ask you, Mount Juliet switches back to the wing tee this year, something that you're very familiar with as you ran it in high school. How's this wing tee offense differentiate from the wing tee that you ran under Roger Perry?
Oh, man. Roger Perry was a traditional wing tee guy, all about the buck sweep, the jet motion, jet sweep, get the ball outside the tackle. We didn't do the read option like they do now. But, Zach White does a great job preparing them during offensive meetings and making sure that they have the scheme down pat, the lingo down pat. So it's a little different than what I've ran, but I got a little familiar with it in the springtime when I was with them.
A lot more shotgun looks in this wing tee, if I'm right, Caleb, compared to when you played, and it really, like you were talking about earlier, makes this offense even harder to defend for a defense whenever you got to worry about that trap, worry about that sweep, as well as the ball over top from the quarterback, mostly to Bowen, but really hard offense to stop, and they're continually adding new things to it, and it's an ever-changing and ever-evolving offense, but it's a classic one.
That's right, and when you got a guy like Alvin Mixon in the backfield, running the thing, it automatically makes that shotgun way more of a threat.
Kick return out to about the 15-yard line. That was number 8, Brandon Pace, on the return. They're going to start at the 14. McGavock, it'll be 1st and 10. 7-0, Golden Bears, 7:47 remaining in the first quarter.
So McGavock tried a few short passes last drive. Interested to see how they go and attack this Golden Bear defense here to start the second drive.
They're going to be swallowed up again, and it continues to be nearly impossible to run against Mount Juliet's defense this season. I think the only way, you were saying the best way, Zach, to have any success is to throw the short passes and let somebody run after the catch. So far this year, it's been the only way to gain yardage on Mount Juliet's defense. That front seven just doesn't allow anything on the run, makes it really hard when you're continually playing behind the sticks for another offense. That's going to be a false start on McGavock. Be even tougher now, 2nd and 15.
Yeah, I mean, like I've mentioned, I just feel like the only way to attack them is to get the ball out of your hands quick. And I'll be honest with you, I mean, I've watched them try to run bubble screens and short, out in the flat type throws, but those just get swallowed up also because Mount Juliet's got some fast athletes, too, that can get out there on the edge. So, I mean, it's got to be something over the middle of the field in my mind.
Sure do. This is another swing pass. Number 17, Cavante Doris. They've tried that twice now.
I mean, that's Tristan Kilman coming all the way from the nose tackle to make the play out there on the hash marks.
Terrific. And I want to point out too, we've talked a lot about Reggie Grimes, Tristan Kilman, and Brian Aiken on that defensive line. Derek Miller, number 34, in there right now, had a great game last week at Rossview. And just another guy on this defensive line that's relentless for Mount Juliet. And this is going to be a scramble play. Colby Martin on the stop, bringing down Harvey Tyler Neal. Just shy, it looks like, of the first down. Might be 4th and a couple for McGavock.
That was a nice run by Tyler Neal there.
Yeah, he gained about 8 yards or about 12 yards on the scramble actually. But was unable to get the first down and be 4th down for McGavock. Same duo back deep to return for Mount Juliet. It's Palmer and Martin. Punts away.
Pretty punt.
Aimed
That's a
at
good
Palmer.
punt.
Palmer backtracks and gets it at the 30 to the 35. He's out to the 40-yard line and brought down there. It'll be 1st and 10 for Mount Juliet. They gave him the 41. It'll be 1st down there. As Mount Juliet's offense takes over again, looking to go up 2 scores here on McGavock. Again, this is Shea Flatt broadcasting live from Mount Juliet High School, joined by Zach Tompkins and Caleb Chalbay in the booth. And we've got a 7-0 game with 5:25 left in the first quarter.
I just would like to say that was maybe the most well-executed punt that I've seen all year long.
There's Martin. Maybe a face mask penalty on McGavock, but he gained 10 anyway. Be first down for Mount Juliet, pending the flag, but I believe it's against McGavock.
Are they going to call an illegal motion? They threw the flag at the 40.
Yeah, they got the face mask on Martin as he burst through the hole there.
Personal foul, face mask.
Shea Flat all over it, saw it as it happened.
So they're going to tack 15 yards onto the end of that run there.
Yard penalty. The result.
I lied.
First down.
They're going to take the penalty over the run. Can't tack on like you do in college.
Reggie Grimes.
And here's Grimes going left, and he's swallowed up. That's going to be a loss of about 3, 2nd and 13 for the Golden Bears.
Reggie Grimes, good run.
Didn't really have a whole lot there. The McGavock front on the right side of the line did a good job of creating pressure, getting pushing the O lineman backwards, and no room there for Reggie Grimes to get forward, get upfield.
The 2nd and 12 for Mount Juliet. Bowen will be under center. Going to bring the motion, but go with the trap play. This is number 15, Justin Harrigan. Harrigan with a block from Martin is down the sideline to the 10-5. Touchdown, Mount Juliet.
Wow.
13-0. And what a run from Justin Harrigan. He went 47 yards, went up the middle, bounced it to the outside, and outraced everybody on McGavock for a big touchdown.
Big Justin Harrigan for his 8th touchdown on the year, coming into this game with 323 rushing yards. He leads the team with rushing touchdowns by a lot, actually. That's his 8th. And I believe the next man, the closest guy to him, is Alvin Mixon with 4. But you know what, Caleb? You know who number 15, Justin Harrigan, reminds me of?
Is that Mr. Contrez McCaffrey?
Contrez McCaffrey.
High praise.
Very high praise, Mr. Tompkins.
He's not wrong. I mean, you got a fullback like that in this wing tee. It's just another thing that makes it so lethal. I mean, you know, he's getting a lot of his carries right up the middle on that trap play and averaging over 9 yards a carry. Then that attack on a 47-yard touchdown there is only going to go up. Just what a ball player Justin Harrigan is, and what a season he's having for Mount Juliet.
Yeah, he had a very special offseason. He got a lot stronger in the weight room. He and a few other seniors, Michael Rutland. You can even throw Reggie Grimes in there, a grinder. Those guys prepared for this moment. They were ready for it.
Number 10, Khalil Jackson, shaking up on the play for McGavock. He's up and walking off on his own power. Looks to be okay, and always good to see. Don't want anybody to be injured out here on the football field. But like we said, 13-0, Mount Juliet, 4:13 to go in the first quarter. And another game and another early lead for Mount Juliet. Going to make it really tough for McGavock going forward here in this football game to keep it interesting against a very high-powered Mount Juliet team. You know, when McGavock comes in last year at home against Mount Juliet, lost that football game 42-6. The year before that, right here at Mount Juliet, lost 49-10. And, you know, they don't want a repeat of the last 2 years. They want to at least keep this thing competitive and see if they can give Mount Juliet a game. They're down 14-0 early, but I don't look to see any quit in McGavock. That's never been their MO, and we'll see if they can make a game of this as they're down early here.
Yeah, I was looking on Max Preps. I saw McGavock play Lebanon real close at Lebanon, so I don't think there's any quit in them based off that score.
Absolutely, yeah. Actually, McGavock did play Lebanon close. They lost that game 16-8 on the road at Lebanon early in the season. And Lebanon's a team that came in here to Mount Juliet and gave the Golden Bears everything they wanted in a 14-10 ball game. So McGavock very capable. and Mount Juliet will have to keep their foot on the pedal if they want to, cruise to victory again in this one. I know Trey Perry will have them out to do just that.
Cook and Pace back deep. McGavock.
Looks like Brewington's lining up pretty short for the pooch kick.
It's going to be fielded and brought out to about the 37. I want to point out something that Mount Juliet did a lot last week against Rossview that Coach Trey Perry wasn't happy with at all. They opened the game with a pooch kick, actually, and Brewington put it right in the middle of the field. They had some guys that were lined up incorrectly on the special teams unit, and in a 48-10 ball game, Trey Perry found a way to give the special teams unit an F in the first half.
Wow.
And so he did give them an A in the second half, though. They came back and corrected it, but something to look for on those pooch kicks, and we'll see if Brewington can put it more where they want him to, and the unit can cover a little bit more like Trey Perry's wanting to. And Trey Perry is the one that grades that special teams unit, and he's never been the easiest critic for whatever part of the team he's grading. So something to look for as the game progresses and the season progresses as well.
Well, I'll say there's a reason why that special teams unit is as good as it is.
Absolutely.
McGavock's best field position of the night here, starting out at about the 36-yard line, 37-yard line. Gain of 3 there. See if they can get some forward yardage here. And they just need a first down.
Fumble, and Derek Miller had a chance to grab it easily and dropped it. We'll see if Mount Juliet was able to get it anyway.
Oh, wow.
They think they have it. No signal yet from the officials.
Derek Miller almost caught it out of his hands in the air.
Yeah.
Mount Juliet.
They will give the football to Mount Juliet.
Tough going for McGavock there, man. You just can't give them that gift right there.
You're just talking about them taking over with the best field position they had all night. They start at the 37. They get out to the 40 on 2nd and 7. And just a simple jet motion play going to the outside, and fumbled the transfer there from the quarterback to the receiver. And you can't shoot yourself in the foot against Mount Juliet. They're good enough as it is, and you really got to play mistake-free football if you want to keep it close or have a chance to win. And it's not what they did there. And here's a different look. Reggie Grimes, the big-time prospect for Mount Juliet, lines up at the fullback position and takes a carry straight ahead for 6 yards. And I know that's something that Mount Juliet coaches want to see, him lowering his shoulder, getting there, getting dirty in the middle of the trenches there and plowing ahead for some good yardage.
I like that personnel change by Coach Trey Perry.
Getting Reggie more north and south.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
First time all season we've seen Grimes line up at the fullback position. They've tried it in practice, I know, but first time they've tried it in a game. And here he is again. They're going to give it to him once more, and he's close to a first down.
See, in my mind, I really think that, later in the season, right there, that was the easiest 4 yards I've ever seen, get gained. So against these teams that are going to have the bigger defensive linemen, the better linebackers, the better fronts, having somebody like Grimes putting his head down and hitting the hole, I think 4 yards in a playoff game is very beneficial.
Great point, Mr. Tompkins. Great point.
Is that Sowell? Yeah. 17.
Jamari Sowell on the carry.
Chalbe, let me ask you, do you remember what y'all's record was your senior year, 2012?
We were 13-1 if you count the playoffs.
Semi-final appearance for Mount Juliet that year, and eliminated against Whitehaven. Just a great season for Mount Juliet that year.
Yeah, that was a very, very tough Whitehaven team that came over here. It was jam-packed. There's people sitting on the visitor hill over there where the band is. It was a special night, but just couldn't take advantage.
Reggie Grimes on the carry.
For sure. And Grimes on the carry again. Game's about 5. Going to be 3rd and 5.
I just wanted to add on to that. The reason I asked that, Caleb, is just, as you're kind of coming down the season and maybe you're playing games that you're favored in, And, I don't know how often you guys got tested, but, what's kind of the mentality that you try to bring, to continue to motivate yourself to play at the highest level and continue to improve yourself and not get satisfied with just beating up on these other teams?
I think it's the long-term goal is what these guys really want to focus on. And I'm not criticizing the coaching staff in any way, but it does start with them. It's their job to keep them with that fire. Even if you're looking online, it's natural now for kids to look online and see what everybody's saying about them, especially with social media. So it's the coach's job to really instill that in them and instill that there's a greater goal in mind. But as a player, as a high school kid, it's definitely hard to keep that mindset because the state championship is so far away.
Right. Right.
But you really have to fall in love with that day-to-day grind.
That's a fake field goal attempt for Mount Juliet there. Comes up short. Malik Bowen took the snap and went ahead, didn't get it. So a turnover on downs for Mount Juliet. Keep going, Caleb.
Oh, sorry about that. That was a fake punt. That was a good timing. It took a little too long. But, yeah, as I was saying, just fall in love with the grind and believe in what you're doing every single day. Is going to prepare you for, what's going to happen in the playoffs. And every game, I mean, I'm saying that the regular season doesn't matter. Every game to this team matters. I feel like Trey Perry does a great job at having the responsibility and instilling in those kids that every game matters for them.
So McGavock's going to take over 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line. And I believe that was I may be wrong. I think that was a design fake by Mount Juliet.
I don't know about it. It looked a little weird to me.
Here's Aiken off the edge. This ball's going to be intercepted. Wow. Devin Palmer with a one-handed interception for Mount Juliet off the deflection. And just like that, Mount Juliet gets the ball back. 2 straight defensive plays have ended in turnovers for the Golden Bears defense. They'll get it right back about where they started last time. 1st and 10 at the 40.
A lot of highlight tape materials happened this first quarter.
Man, dude. But I'm like 2 plays, 2 turnovers for McGavock right there. And I'm not taking anything away from Devin Palmer. That's a great play. But all I got to say is that throw was there. It was there for a gain of 10 or 15, just right off the receiver's hands, and Palmer makes a great play. Big momentum for Mount Juliet right here.
There's Mixon going to run. Yeah, this is interesting there. Mixon looked to the right to Connor Ruzak for the motion, and then came back left for the motion. So not sure who was wrong there, Mixon or Ruzak, but a little miscommunication in the backfield for Mount Juliet on that one. Either way, brings us to the end of the first quarter. It's 14-0 Mount Juliet over McGavock as we start the second quarter. And I can see down there on the sidelines, offensive coordinator Zach White not happy with his offense after that play. Neither is head coach Trey Perry.
Lighten them up, man.
Perry's irate down there.
I love it.
And, you got to love the passion of Trey Perry and this coaching staff, all of them. They're perfectionists, and a lot of people don't get it. And it comes back to what Caleb said earlier is while you take it one game at a time, you have an overall bigger picture in mind. And, while they may be good enough and they may be able to get away with mistakes against some teams, Trey Perry and this coaching staff and these players as well know that some of these little mistakes will not sit well when it comes playoff time and they're facing one of those teams from Region 3 6A over in Murfreesboro. And it's those things is what they have to get corrected before playoff time, and that's something that they strive to do each and every week is not only go out and beat the opponent that's lined up across from them, but get better and be more prepared when Week 11 rolls around and you're facing off against one of those special teams in Region 3 6A. Here's that slice play for Mount Juliet. Goes to Rutland this time. Out to the 25, a gain of 11, and a first down for Mount Juliet.
That was a little bit different of a slice play. That was more like a double reverse.
Yeah.
Because that handoff did not come from Mixon. That came from Ruzak.
You're right. They ran that one last week for a touchdown against Rossview, and it was one of the most beautifully designed plays I've seen all year. They run it again there for a first down.
I love it. Misdirection, on their toes. How about a little play action, throw the ball at the top of the bone right here, huh?
See what they got. Here's Ruzak in motion.
Nah.
Going to go Walton up the middle.
I'll take Walton for 5, though, all day long.
10 times
all day long. Oh, flag.
Late flag.
You can't go broke making a profit on offense, so 5 yards.
Well, I guess while we're waiting, I would like to add on to your point, Shay, and Caleb's point also as far as this team goes. And you see, getting a little chippy down there, huh? Offsetting.
Got offsetting unsportsmanlike penalties against Mount Juliet and McGavock.
But I do just want to say this, that, and you kind of hear Jeremy Pruitt say this about Tennessee all the time. And I know that, they're kind of in the reverse role of how Mount Juliet is here, but it's not necessarily about focusing on their opponent and how good their opponent is. It's focusing on themselves and what did we do well. And you can always find coaching moments within the game as far as, like, your linebackers. And I have no idea why we have to walk this off twice. Like, what? I don't know. But anyway.
That's one of the strangest things I've ever seen.
I mean, what
back
in the
15
world?
yards and then walked back up 15 yards.
It's like doing a math problem and subtracting 10, then adding 10 right back to it with the point, man. But anyway, though.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm just saying, there's always coaching moments that you can find in this. Y'all are saying, this coaching staff does a really good job of doing that, and they break down. And my brother, always has a good story to tell me. Let me tell you, when these coaches go into the locker room late at night, here comes that Bowen pass I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
Oh, broken up, a little underthrown there from Mixon, but Bowen almost reeled it in anyway.
And just to finish my point, in the locker room after these games, there's no, like, laying back, sitting back in the chair, laughing, smiling. No, there's yelling and punches being thrown and things being thrown around due to anger while we're winning these games by 30, 40 points. I would like to point that out.
That's right. These guys in the film room are so critical and detailed when they explain to the kids, what's going on. So. When things aren't being done as they see it on film, it frustrates them very bad.
There's Ruzak.
There's a slice.
That was a slice play. He's down to the 8-yard line and a first down for Mount Juliet, and he controlled it, but still an issue there with the snap to Mixon under center. It'll be first and goal for Mount Juliet, up 14-0, 10:50 and running on the clock here at Mount Juliet.
And I would also add on to that, Chalbe, talking about film. It is not far-fetched for these coaches to stay in that locker room until about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, the night of the game.
That's right. These guys do more film watching.
Touchdown, Marcelo Walton up the middle on the trap. It's 20-0.
That's another touchdown.
That's right, Zach. These coaches and players do more film watching. I would be willing to bet money that they do more film watching than more than 90% of high schools in the state of Tennessee,
Yeah.
if not 95.
I think so too. They watch a lot of film. I've actually I can see on Huddle the amount of hours that they put in each and every week to that film, and some of these coaches are in there watching hours on hours on hours of film. And it's remarkable, and it pays off for Mount Juliet every single week.
The extra point attempt is good. Your Franklin score.
Marcelo Walton's second touchdown on the year, by the way, and coming into this game, rushed 23 times for 161 yards. So, just another addition to Mount Juliet's lethal offensive weapons and the handful of guys that they have that can carry the ball.
Got a VFL touchdown, Tom Brady to Cordero Patterson in the NFL. Just saw that on T-Cat's phone. So
that is very good for my fantasy team, I will admit that, Shay Flat. That is what I'm talking about.
I'm guessing you got Brady and not Patterson.
That is correct. That is correct, yes. Even though I did hear that Cordero went for a pretty good week last week.
He did.
Because I did also hear that Mr. Withrow dropped him. I hear that he's struggling pretty bad in his fantasy league, on the midday 180 league.
I don't do fantasy football anymore, fellas.
What a shame.
Hey, I'm on a 21-game winning streak spanning 3 years in my league. No big deal.
Oh.
That and Madden, I assume.
I didn't know that we were sitting by a fantasy football legend.
So here's the squib kick. brought out to the 36-yard line.
Who got him? 42, Pardue again?
Shout out to Drew Gibby, Cody Cook, everybody in my fantasy league.
All right, well, I think we've entered that moment again for just about every game that we've been on the call this year, Shay, where if McGavock doesn't do something now, I believe it is at the breaking point.
I believe so. I believe you're right.
I mean, we talked about it. I mean, Mount Juliet hadn't allowed more than 10 points in a single game all year. They've got 21 on the board. So even if Mount Juliet doesn't score another point tonight, McGavock has to more than double the most points that Mount Juliet's allowed all season long. A very tough hill to climb for the Red Raiders. But as we speak, a swing pass for McGavock's offense goes for about 9 yards, gets it down to 2nd and 1 for the Red Raiders. That was number 3, Shamar Kirk, on the reception from Harvey Tyler Neal, and positive gain for McGavock. And here's Tyler Neal on the carry. He's going to be swallowed up. No gain. Tristan Kilman in there on the stop. It'll be 3rd and 1 for Mount Juliet, or for McGavock, I'm sorry.
I know I haven't seen him live, but this spring, Tristan Kilman was a bit of a problem on that end.
Yeah, he's a force in the middle of that Mount Juliet defense.
I would like to mention also that Brian Aiken received an offer from ETSU.
He did.
A couple weeks ago. That kid's probably pretty happy he decided to play football this fall, I'll say that much.
Congratulations, Brian Aiken.
And I'll tell you this, last week at Rossview, Woody Womack from Rivals was on the sideline with us, and so was Joe Panunzio, the running backs coach at the University of Alabama, to see Grimes and Bowen and some other guys on this team. And Womack came up to me and asked me, who's number 23 on the defensive line and why don't I know him? And he's a huge guy, just like Grimes, stands out right when you look at Mount Juliet's defensive line. And, like we've talked about before, Aiken didn't play football until this year, just a basketball player, and immediately came in and started on this defensive line for Mount Juliet. Somebody that right away had the weight room part of it down thanks to Troy Allen and that basketball staff. And he's been a great addition to this Mount Juliet front seven this year, and just played 7 games of football in his high school career, and a collegiate offer to East Tennessee State. Quite remarkable, and got the attention of Rivals Woody Womack as well. Here's Tyler Neal, hesitated for a moment, but then burst to the left for a first down. He's into Mount Juliet territory at the 44-yard line with a first down.
I might be going out on a limb here, but I do believe that is the first down for the Raiders this evening.
I believe you're right, Mr. Tompkins.
First down, McGavock for the 46-yard line.
Speaking of that basketball team, Chowbey, you think Mount Juliet basketball is going to be pretty solid this year?
Oh man, I am very excited for what Troy Allen has at his basketball team this year, and I'm one of his competitors over at Independence High School, not in the district. Wow.
And the ball.
Sowell.
The ball's out. It looked to be down, though. Got a marker down in the backfield as well.
Great play by Jamari Sowell right there, running up, sticking the receiver, putting the helmet on the football.
But yeah, Zach, back to basketball. I was one of their competitors. I'm at Independence now, so and me speaking towards Troy Allen is saying something. I think they have a very good shot at going back to the Glass House this year.
Oh yeah, I know you worked a lot with Will Pruitt back in the back just recently before you moved over to Independence, and I'm sure he's expecting to have a big year this year also.
Absolutely, Pruitt, Gavin, and Riggs Abner. Shout out to those guys, man. They're in the gym habitually.
Here's Tyler Neal again on the carry, pushing
hello.
forward. Wow. Oh, my goodness.
Wow. That shows the weight room material that they've been doing.
Yeah. Ended up being a gain of about 7 on the play, or 11 on the play, sorry. So it's down to 3rd and 1 now for McGavock.
Initial stop made by number 99, Tristan Gilman.
That was, I haven't seen something like that in a little while. I mean, that was like every person on the field in a big old pile moving forward.
That's it.
Big play right here, I'll say that much.
Yeah, they need this one.
Good time for Kilmon to make a play, though.
Oh,
Wow.
Aiken got him.
Tyler Neal got the first down. He paid for it, though, from
Hit
Brian Aiken.
him so hard from behind, he pushed him forward for the first down.
I believe he came from the opposite edge.
He did. Just closing speed of Aiken.
Neal on the carry.
Going to rotate some of those guys on the D-line out now. Kilman and Aiken come off. I believe Miller came off as well. Here's Tyler Neal going to do the swing pass, blown up in the backfield by Mount Juliet. I believe that was Rutland that got it, or no, that was Walton that got in there for the tackle for loss, and he lost about 6 on the play. So it's going to be 2nd and long for McGavock.
I want to give a shout out to Jonathan Taylor Wilson, who just texted me a minute ago
Knothead.
and complimented the beautiful commentary apparently that we have. And I just want to give him a big shout out and tell him that me and Chalbay are playing golf at 7:40 on Saturday morning. He's more than welcome to join.
Shout out to Mr. Wilson.
I want to show off my memory here. I remember him throwing a no-hitter in Little League for the Little League Marlins. And I'm just going to let everybody know that that was a beautiful no-hitter that he threw all those years ago.
Oh, man. Lefty.
Big shout out to Knott.
Yes. 3rd and 16.
Well, what was a promising drive for McGavock is looking a bit glim now. I'll say this, though. From the punting game that they've showed, maybe they have a good kicking game. So if they can gain some yards here, maybe they can kick one, get 3 points out of it. He's open.
Do you think he got close enough, Mr. Tompkins?
I don't know. I mean, it's like I said, their punting game looked pretty good, but I mean, so maybe that kid can kick it. Not real sure. Doesn't really look like they're running on the kicking team though. So it looks like they're going to be going for it here, 10 yards.
This would be about 50 yards from here.
I'd say that's pretty tough for any high school kicker, a 50-yarder.
Yeah, not just anybody can.
Make some noise, Golden Bear fans.
That takes quite the boot. I will say that much. Holding. Oh man.
And it's going to be incomplete anyway.
He's right in front of it.
Tyler Neal slow to get up after the hit from Kilman.
Uh-oh.
Oh, a little showboat there from Kilman.
Be careful, Mr. Kilmer.
Yeah.
Pass intended for Hill. Golden Bears take over on downs.
Hey, if we're going to do shout-outs, I want to give a shout-out to Coach Chase Howland down there on the sideline, another 2012 grad that played football with me. So shout-out to Coach Howland.
Yeah, he's defensive line coach here in Mount Juliet. In my opinion, the best unit on this football team is the defensive line. And he does a great job, and he works really hard. One of my best friends. And,
He's a grinder.
He is a grinder. He loves it. Loves it. There's that trap play again for Mount Juliet. And another solid 5 yards. Can't go broke making a profit.
Gosh, I love that switch to the wing tee with this personnel. That misdirection, man, is so tricky.
Yeah.
So tricky.
Absolutely.
And I'll say this. I was talking to my brother about it. I've said it multiple times on the broadcast so far this year, but I think that this offense is going to go as far as Alvin Mixon takes it with his arm.
Yep.
It's obvious that this team can run the football in many directions with many different guys, but Alvin's going to have to find a way to get it done in the air when he has his opportunities. He's got to connect with Bowen and his other targets whenever that opportunity comes, whenever they're playing these better teams.
That's right.
Yeah, he really does. I mean, it's simple to look at it and just see it at face value, what a difference that makes for Alvin and this offense whenever they're clicking through the air. Last week 6 of 6, 125 yards and 2 TDs. They beat Rossview 48-10. Rossview came into that game 2-0 in the region. On the flip side, you look at a game like the Wilson Central game on the road where Mixon was 5 of 11, 90 yards. Missed some balls deep over the top where Bowen had a step or two on his defender. Mount Juliet beats Wilson Central 21-7. That's a Wilson Central team that very possibly could end up 2-8 on the season. So, you know, you look at some of the teams like Rossview, they beat 48-10. Gallatin, they beat 49-3. Mount Juliet's blowing out when Mixon's connecting on those passes and turn around and beat a team like Wilson Central 21-7. A lot of mental errors, just some overthrows in that game, and some slight mistakes that can really cost you come playoff time. And I tell you what, if Mount Juliet were playing one of those Region 3 6A teams that night against Central, they would have been beaten. And they really got to get that short up before playoff time as Mixon oversells that one. It'll be 3rd and 5.
And that's why I'm saying going into tonight, you know, he had a great game last week against Rossview. And so tonight, he's looked good so far. You know, that pass was a little shaky, but, you know, just keeping that momentum going. And maybe, Caleb, you can speak on this maybe more. You know, as a quarterback, I don't know how much, you know, being in a rhythm and feeling confident when you're throwing the football, I don't know how, you know, important that is.
Oh, man, it's very key. It's a necessity. I mean, you and your receivers have to be on the same page at all times, and that's –
Here's Grimes. Here's Grimes.
Oh, yeah, breakaway speed.
That's his. I think that might be his longest run of the season right there. They're gonna mark him out of bounds at the 30, which gives him a gain of 31. He's probably had some runs that may be that long or longer throughout the year, but a great run off the slice play for Reggie Grimes. 1st and 10 for Mount Juliet.
Yeah, going back to that timing, Zach, it's all about. People ask, you know, how do they get the how is the timing right? It's another question that mesh is on the option read, whether to give it or to pull it. How do you make that timing so perfect? And it's all reps. It's getting familiar with your personnel and who you're working with.
And gain of 1 for Harrigan there.
Like that right there, exactly. Chalbe right there. Did you see that?
That's right. That mesh right there, that read is all reps. It can't. The feel, it's feel too, but you have to rep it in order to know whether to pull it or give it.
Short gain on the play, 2nd down and 9, Golden Bears.
And I believe Mixon was a little irritated at himself right there because I believe that the defender was there, and I guess the right read initially was give it, but then he crashed, and so he was thinking, you know, Alvin's probably thinking, man, I should have kept that thing, and I would have had a lot bigger gain.
Right, and generally speaking, I don't know. It's film preparation and checking the defensive scheme out, but it's typically the guy outside the guard or the defensive tackle or defensive end is who he's reading there.
Right.
Mount Juliet's offense going to be backed up 5 yards on a delay of game penalty, and Zach White just pointing out to Mixon to keep an eye on that play clock in the end zone.
Oh, wow. I didn't even see that they had a play clock. I love that wall, too, over there. It's a nice wall.
Oh, yeah, it's beautiful.
It's a new wall, and big shout-out to Kevin Cosley, who did all the took in all the man hours to make sure that wall was put up correctly. He spent a lot of hard working hours this summer making sure that thing was up and running.
Oh, he's scrambling.
Here's Mixon, throws, Grimes went up and got it, touchdown!
Wow, they threw the flag, pushed off. Oh,
No way,
they called the push
way.
off. Wow.
No way this is offense.
I saw it. It was clear. It was clear.
Man.
What a grab, though.
That's tough. That's a great play by Reggie Grimes to go up and get that football and high point it. We'll see. They're discussing it, but it does look like this one's going to come back. Yeah, pass interference on the offense, number 44. That's a tough one. That's a great play.
I respectfully disagree.
That's a great ball by Mixon to give Grimes a shot at it. And a great job by Grimes to go up and get it, but just put 2 hands on the receiver according to the ref, pushed off and went up and got it.
I believe they saw 2 hands extend. Both arms extend. That's why they called it.
Yeah.
Right, yep.
Some of the fans here disagree. They agree with Zach Tompkins, disagree with the stripes.
I don't know if they're really respectfully disagreeing like I was, though. I'll say that.
That's true. That's true. There's a difference. Now it's going to be second and about
Screen to
26.
Nice.
Here's Ruzek. He's up the middle. He gains about 28 yards. We've got 2 markers down on the field. I think the first one was against Mount Juliet, but they might get McGavock for an unsportsmanlike here on the tail end of it. We'll see what they got. But
was that Christian Sandin on that screen block right there? Number 51. That was an unbelievable block. He had them engaged for about 3 or 4 seconds.
I believe so. Is he the center?
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to.
Against the offense, personal foul against the defense.
That is what happened. They did get a personal foul against McGavock at the end of that play against Wade Savage. A McGavock player just had a hold of his face mask and wouldn't let go. So that wipes out a 28-yard gain for Mount Juliet. And let's see, here's Mixon, quarterback keeper. And he's to the 45, to the 40, down to the 38-yard line. A gain of a gain of about 11 for Mount Juliet. Still going to be 3rd and long, but it's somewhat manageable for Mount Juliet. It'll be about 3rd and 17.
Pick up a 12.
I don't think they have a choice but to go in the air right here.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if number 3 doesn't get a look here, Malik Bowen, but they got Sal and Martin in there as well. Martin lined up in the slot, Sal outside to the top of your screen. Here's, Bowen had it in his hands and dropped it. A little hitch route and tried to run with it before he caught it, and be 4th down for Mount Juliet.
Malik going to be a little irritated at himself right there. You know, just make sure you catch it. As always, got a little excited, wanted to catch it and run it. Knew he had a lot of yards to make up. They'll be all right. Hopefully they can put him in right here.
A little short snap, a little pooch kick.
Here's the punt. Grimes got it, went out of bounds. And we'll see where they mark it. Going to be out of bounds at the 12, 1st and 10 for McGavock.
Matt Pewitt there on the punt for Mount Juliet. Pretty decent job there, pinning them back at the 12.
Let's see if McGavock can make it respectable at halftime here.
Not too good field position for him, but, you know, they've had a little bit of success lately. They just haven't really been able to finish it once they've gotten it going. A couple penalties have hurt them pretty bad.
They have.
Here's Tyler Neal from the pistol. 3 wide for McGavock. He drops back to throw, looks to the left. Got his man, but just out in front of him a little bit. Cage Ellis and Michael Rutland on the defense there. Incomplete.
I mean, Tyler Neal's going to have his receivers start making some plays for him. He's thrown some balls. Yes, that one was a little bit out in front, but, I mean, I can't imagine yet he could have made a much better throw than that right there. And, I mean, my motto, I don't know about you guys, but it's always been if it touches your hands, you should catch it.
Absolutely. I agree.
Same look for McGavock, a little tighter this time. Handoff goes up the middle, nothing. Shocker.
Britton Steele did a good job of plugging that hole right there. Came in on the blitz, timed it perfectly, gave him nowhere to go.
I believe Mount Juliet's trying to get an extra possession out of this, calling a timeout.
You already know it. Trey Perry's probably irritated that we haven't scored in about 10 minutes, so he's definitely trying to get him another one.
Yeah. Not only gives them a chance to get the ball back if they punt, will give Mount Juliet's great special teams unit a chance to make a play on the punt as well with either a block or a good return.
Yeah, been a while since I've seen a block punt.
Especially in your own end zone.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's an expectation for us to see a block punt every week.
I mean, if Michael Rutland's not blocking punts, what's he doing? They never throw to his side on the defense. So
right.
I mean,
Wow, that kid's special.
He is. I mean, I was telling somebody last week, they asked about Rutland and how he is and whether or not, he had any college offers. And I don't know why he doesn't have more college looks than he's got. I seriously think it's been about 2 or 3 years since someone's caught a pass on his side of the field. I mean, seriously. I mean, they don't even throw over there. They don't even look his way. Tyler Neal did.
And just to let you know, there is a younger Rutland. He's a freshman.
Yes.
So,
and he's a stud basketball player.
Tyler Neal's going to look his way. There's a soft zone, though. And number 3, Cavante.
He got it. First down.
You get it?
Did he get out of bounds?
Yeah.
I believe they marked. Yep.
All right.
He sure did.
It's a first down for McGavock. A great swing play there. Shamar Kirk actually on the reception there. And a first down, and we talked about it. Those quick passes where you get the ball out quick might be the only way to move the ball against this Mount Juliet defense. It certainly worked there.
Oh, wow.
And they're going to go right back to him. He dropped this one, though. Always think it's funny, a clear forward pass. The defense always picks it up and runs the other way with it.
You can't ever take him for granted, Shay. Come on now. You can't take any chances.
Yeah. You never know.
That may be that guy's only chance to score the entire season. So
right.
you doggone right, I'm going to pick that ball up and run it to the end zone.
You're right, T-Cat. Whistle only blew 6 times. Yeah. Second and 10 for McGavock. Colby Martin will have other chances to score for sure. We're just picking on him.
Well, I wasn't really looking at specifically who picked it up and ran it.
Yeah,
Okay?
I know.
Maybe defensive lineman, Kilmon maybe.
I just know the first thing Colby Martin's going to do when he goes home is listen to this, and I didn't want him to get offended.
Well, Colby Martin, I apologize. You're a fantastic athlete, and I hope that you score 10 touchdowns this year.
I hope you score 10 tonight.
Yep. 3rd and 7. Need to stop.
Need it.
Here's Tyler Neal.
Oh, wow.
Aikens all over him.
Oh, my goodness.
Take it up right into the end zone.
That is a scary sight, fellas.
Would have been a flag and a fine in the NFL, but it works here in high school. 4th down for McGavock.
Oh, very true. Clay Matthews can attest to that.
Yeah. Clay Matthews, the king of the new roughing the passer penalty.
I love how Mr. Aiken demolishes him and then reaches his hand down to help him back up.
I love it.
Whoever gets Mr. Aiken is getting a sleeper and a guy of quality.
Yeah, they really are. It wouldn't surprise me if he got some bigger profile offers as this season goes on. Oh, snaps over their head.
Oh, no.
He can pick it up and punt it still.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
No way.
It almost blocked it. I cannot believe
heck of a play by the McGavock punter there.
Wow. I can't believe he picked it up and punted it.
I can't believe Mount Juliet's special teams wasn't all over that, and I know that coaching staff probably won't be happy that he was able to get that away. I really thought he was going to
I guess they had to be running a return right there.
Yeah, they were definitely had the return on.
But, man, the awareness of that punter to pick the ball up and even have, in my mind, you're like, oh, I got to pick this up and run it. No, he turns around thinking, I'm kicking this thing.
Yeah, in all seriousness, the best play of the night for McGavock. I mean, that was a great play.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're right.
Saved him.
Yeah, when it goes over his head, we're all thinking that's at least 2 points. Let's see if it's 6.
Right.
And he was able to get out of there with nothing. So here's Mixon. He's going to scramble out.
Oh, Bowen's open in the end zone.
He gained about 1 on the scramble.
He had a couple guys running downfield, but it wasn't a comfortable look for him.
Yeah.
And I don't blame him. I don't blame him.
Smart decision.
Yeah, flowing to his left, thrown back against his body if he makes that throw to Bowen. It's a tough throw, and it's a tough thing for a receiver when your quarterback starts scrambling to be self-aware there and to try to come back and help him out. And that goes back to what Caleb was saying earlier, is just the repetitions. And that's something that you got to practice, the scramble drill. And let your quarterback scramble out and see if you can get familiar with what he does in that situation. They're going to, I believe, call Bowen down on that play.
That's close.
I saw the white hat throw the fumble.
I did too.
Beanie, and I think they're gonna talk about it maybe.
Huh.
But the side judge had him down.
Can you reverse it in high school after the whistle's blown?
I believe they can converse, and if they come to a mutual decision on the field in that moment, that they can go with a call that they deem correct. Here's Mixon looking for Bowen, a little overthrown, and oh my gosh, Mount Juliet's going to get a break right here. That's going to be 4th and 11. Instead, it's going to be an automatic first down.
Wow.
So McGavock's safety came over top and undercut Bowen as he was trying to reach for that ball. I'm for Mount Juliet here, but they got a break on that one. That ball was uncatchable, and they're going to get an automatic first down on it.
Crucial penalty for McGavock.
Absolutely is.
Yeah, and I think it's so bad because, like you're saying, is the ball was well over Bowen's head, but it just tells you that the McGavock defender wasn't playing the football, because if he was, he would have recognized that it was out of bounds. But instead, he's just kind of focusing on when Bowen was going to catch the ball, delivering the hit, and that'll cost you.
Great point, Tompkins.
Yep.
First and 10 for the Golden Bears from the 19-yard line.
We've got 1 minute, 14 seconds left, first half. Mount Juliet leads McGavock 21-0 here from the Mel Brown Athletic Complex in Mount Juliet.
Plenty of time to put one in the end zone here.
Oh, plenty of time. Here's Mixon out of the shotgun. Got Ruzak on the wheel. Throws back to Bowen on the other side. Bowen's out to about the 15, just gained about 4 yards. It's a great play design, just a little bit slow developing. Underthrown a little bit coming back to this side of the field, and made Bowen come back and get it. Otherwise, that would have been a big play for Mount Juliet.
I agree. Had me fooled.
Here's Mixon. He's going to throw to Bowen again. A little overshot.
I'll tell you what, Coach Zach White is very crafty with this wing T offense.
He is. And that's why I asked you earlier why it differentiates from yours, because it's not a traditional wing T offense. A lot of people think wing T and might be college football fans, and they think of a Georgia Tech or a Navy. This isn't that offense. This is a very different wing T offense with a lot of different looks and a lot of complexity.
Absolutely.
That Mount Juliet can throw at you here.
Absolutely. Different formations.
Here's Ruzek.
Different formations, tight end shifts, trips, empty, motions, rocket motions.
Absolutely.
A lot of crafty things Coach White's doing.
I mean, they can go completely empty 5 wide if they need to, and that's not something you see very often out of a quote-unquote wing T.
And with this
they're
personnel,
going to give them the first down on that last one. I thought it was a 4th down for Mount Juliet, but it's going to be first down. Mixon, 28 seconds and running. We got a flag far side of the field.
I think it's going to be a while before we get to this second half, gentlemen.
Let's see what they got.
They're certainly inching along, I'll say that.
Sideline warning against McGavock.
Wow.
Sideline infraction against McGavock.
Sticklers. And then I think it's funny, then you see every Mount Juliet player starting to back up, getting behind the line.
Yeah.
Timeout McGavock.
Timeout McGavock now.
26 seconds.
They'll have 1 remaining in the half. 26 seconds. First and goal for Mount Juliet at the 9-yard line. And McGavock takes a timeout to talk about it. They really want to keep Mount Juliet out of the end zone here. A touchdown here would give Mount Juliet a 28-0 lead and the ball coming back to start the second half. So definitely not a spot McGavock wants to be in here. They'd really love to keep Mount Juliet either off the board or to a field goal at least.
Absolutely. Great point, Shay.
Hey, I will say this, though. It's been a pleasure being up here with you two tonight. I'm having a good time. Ciao, Bay.
I love it. This
Just
is
getting up
awesome.
here and just jumping in the fire, man. You're doing a great job.
This is awesome, man. I love coming back to my alma mater. I hope every athletic team at this school does well. That's always my wishes for Mount Juliet High School.
I think we can all agree on that. My hero. All right, we're back. First and goal. Mixon's going to go under center. Walton behind him at the fullback position. Rutland and Ruzak at the wingbacks. Here's Mixon. Rolls right. He's going to throw to Rutland. Far side. Overthrown a little bit. 2nd and 9.
And that's fine.
That's it. Yeah, that's fine.
That's the right throw to
Right,
make there. You
right.
cannot miss on the other side of Rutland.
Correct.
Because that's an interception going the other way. So if you're going to miss somewhere, you're going to miss right there.
Especially in this part of the field. You don't
Right.
want to give up
At
a pick
this
six at this
time.
moment.
Yep.
Yeah, that's 2 throws in a row that's the case for Mixon. That overthrow in the end zone to Bowen missed it where only Bowen had even a chance at it. And like you said, if you're going to miss there. And we got single high.
Slice.
Wow.
Yeah.
They love that slice play.
They do, and Mount Juliet's going to have to call a timeout here.
Michael Rutland with the carry.
They're not going to go for it.
They're not going
I
to call a
guess we're not.
timeout immediately. They're going to maybe take the field goal and get out of here.
Huh.
Surprising
Interesting.
move.
Timeout.
Interesting.
Golden Bears.
Yeah, a surprising move there with 2 timeouts left. I can understand it if you just had one maybe, but I might have thrown one for the end zone before I took the field goal, but I'm not a football coach. So
21-0, getting the ball after half. I'll take 3. I don't know. I'm just saying. That's my point.
yeah.
Absolutely.
That's the defense, I
Right,
guess.
right.
And like we talked about, they do get the ball to come out
That's
at
right.
halftime. So you take the field goal here, you go up 24-0 and get the ball back immediately to come back out and really put this game away if you can score to start the second half.
Yeah.
Right.
With this lead, I don't think Coach Trey Perry made a bad move there. I think he did the right thing by being in defensive mode.
And it's not like you haven't taken your shots already. They've thrown a bunch of balls towards the end zone on this drive.
Exactly.
So, they've shot their shot, and there's no
Take the
there's
points,
no big
let's go to
deal.
the
Yep,
locker room.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, for sure.
And I believe we're off air.
Check. I'm good.
Yeah, we're good. Yeah, okay. And Brewington's field goal is up and good. It's 24-0 Mount Juliet as we hit the halftime break. Mount Juliet will get the ball to start the second half. And once again, Mount Juliet leads the McGavock 24-0 at halftime here from the Mel Brown Athletic Complex. We'll see you back here for the third quarter in about 15 minutes. And we're back here at Mount Juliet High School where the Golden Bears lead McGavock 24-0 to start the second half. I'm Shea Flatt, joined in the booth by Zach Tompkins and Caleb Chalbay tonight. We are here at the Mel Brown Athletic Complex. Like I said, 24-0 Golden Bears, and they get the ball to start the second half.
Looking forward to seeing what McGavock's going to come out with here in the second half. Looking to me like it's going to be an onside kick attempt.
It looks like it might be. Number 52, Will Kincaid, will kick off for Mount Juliet. He will kick it out of bounds.
Straight out of bounds.
Kickoff goes out of bounds.
I don't know if that was the plan.
Well, they weren't going to go down 31-0 on the first play of the half. They kicked it straight out of bounds.
I mean, typically, I would normally think you either see a pooch, or I was kind of expecting him to hit the top of the football and send it straight up in the air like a normal onside kick, maybe.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I thought they were going to try a straight up onside to start the half, but Mount Juliet's going to make them re-kick this ball.
And I'm going to be honest, I don't really know why. But
Yeah,
hey.
I would think that that Trey Perry thinks that they can get even better field position off the kick. Either make McGavock kick it shorter and run it up, or make him kick it deep. Probably the kicker doesn't have the leg to get it to the end zone from the 35 rather than the 40.
Correct.
So make him re-kick it and see if you can't get it up farther than the 35 where they would have got it on the kick out of bounds, and we'll see if it pays off.
And with Malik Bowen in the front line, I do believe that they have their hands team ready for the onside kick here.
It is kicked short. And here's Walton. He's out to the 30, to the 35, to the 39. So the decision gains 4 yards for Mount Juliet. They'll start off 1st and 10 at the 39.
Okay, Colby Martin just laid one of the most vicious hits I have seen in a while, and unfortunately it is this young man that is on the ground right now who's being looked at. But I saw that in live action, and that dude went cold.
Yeah, I missed it, but Cody Harrison, our stats guy, agrees with you that he got hit very hard, and he's down on the field. The great athletic director here, Mike Duncan, walking out to check on him and everything. And here's Trey Perry over there as well to check on the young man.
Because just seeing it live, as soon as he hit him, I hope that he's conscious at least, but his body went pretty limp and just kind of fell straight to the ground.
It's unfortunate. It's always good to see the players take a knee, because these type of injuries are very serious. And it's actually really good to see Coach Trey Perry out there checking on the opposing team. Good sportsmanship by Mount Juliet.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it kind of lets you know that, that it's more than football. Some things are bigger than football, and this young man's health is certainly one of them. Mount Juliet, as well as McGavock, of course, hopes nothing but the best for this young man. And I can't see a number. There's a big circle around him, but as soon as we get a number on this kid, we'll let you know who it is that's down for McGavock. And Tompkins says number 44 is who he saw go down. That's Deontay Lewis, the senior for McGavock. And Trey Perry now walking away from the scene, as is Mount Juliet's medical doctor. So possibly a good sign there that they're both walking away from the incident.
He is sitting up now, conscious.
And they've helped him to his feet. It was number 44, Deontay Lewis. And
a little woozy hopping up there.
A little woozy, but walking off on his
Good
own
deal.
power. And that's certainly really good to see that he's able to get up and walk off there. So, as we have it, 24-0, Mount Juliet leads. 11:54 to go as we have just started the third quarter. Alvin Mixon under center to start here in the wing tee.
So this is the traditional formation right here.
Yeah, and they're going to go with that sweep to Ruzek.
And that's the traditional buck sweep, getting back to the basics. Wing tee football right there.
Yeah, that traditional look. You love that buck sweep and that buck trap. And they go with a sweep there. And I remember when you guys were running it, y'all hit them with that buck trap, buck sweep, buck trap all game with Contrez and Caleb Hopkins running it.
That's right.
And that was a lethal Mount Juliet offense
right.
with you anchoring it under center. So
I appreciate that, Shay.
And here's Walton
the
up
trap.
the middle. He's dragging them now. He's down to the 27-yard line. That's a gain of 24 and a first down for Marcelo Walton. And you know, we've said it over and over again. That's why it's so tough. You hit them outside on the sweep, then you come right back in the middle, and you hit them with the trap. And you're running the same motion almost every play. So the defense before the snap seeing the same thing, but the ball is going into a different spot. And that's why it's so hard to defend.
That's right.
And I will say somebody like Marcelo, I mean, you want to talk about one of these athletes that is just built like a brick house.
Man.
When he's coming downhill at you, man, it's really hard to take him down.
Man.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's Ruzak to the outside on the sweep again, and that's a gain of 14. And getting back to your point about Walton being just a load to bring down, what a 1-2 punch at the fullback position they have with Harrigan and Walton that they can run that trap with and just hammer teams inside.
And now especially if they're putting Grimes back there,
yeah,
too.
Grimes as well, and then you've got Grimes and Rutland and Ruzek and at the wingback positions, and you got Mixon is all more than capable of running the ball himself from the quarterback position, not to mention the throwing ability of this offense, and it's lethal for sure.
It's a lot to scheme for a defense.
It is. And, you know, you can only do so much. You know, McGavock can put a scout team wing tee in there all week in practice and try to simulate this, but there's nothing that you can do to really simulate it when you take into account the athletes that Mount Juliet has running this offense. So,
That's right. That's right.
You know, it's very, very difficult to scheme for.
Absolutely, especially with the tricky things Coach White has up his sleeve. It's definitely hard to not only replicate the athleticism, but the scheme as well.
And there's Ruzek on the same motion. They're going to go with that slice play. Here's Rutland. He cuts it up. He's down inside the 5 to about the 4-yard line for a first and goal, Mount Juliet. So clock running now, under 10 minutes to go in the half. Or in the quarter, I'm sorry. 24-0, and Mount Juliet on the move again. And we talked about it before the break. You know, they opted to go for the field goal there to go up 24-0. And what did we say? Hey, take the 3 points, go up 24-0. If you come out on the first drive of the second half and you put it in the end zone, go up 31-0, the game's over. Well, they're 4 yards away from doing just that. And they'll give it up the middle. Why not? Walton met at the one, but fights forward. He stretched it out, but they're going to call him down at the 1.
Needs to be careful stretching that football.
Yeah,
like
he
that.
does.
You're right, Caleb. That's always a dangerous play, stretching that football out. I know that it's very tempting, especially when you're getting pushed back and you can see the goal line right there, and you really just want to extend the football. Very easily for it to be popped out of your hands and end up being a fumble there.
Absolutely. But as a player, you're always wanting to get that extra yard, especially when the goal line's in sight.
Yeah, you want the stat.
That
you
is
want
true
the touchdown
also.
for yourself.
That is true.
But we got another McGavock player down here at the goal line. I think that's number 7, Marcus Johnson. I think I caught a glimpse of his shoulder before he rolled over onto his back there. And another huddle around him. So, Caleb, while we got a minute here, I just want to talk about the uniforms for Mount Juliet. Where were these back in 2012?
It's funny you say that, Shay, because there's an interesting story behind how the creative jerseys came about. When Roger Perry was here, he was the traditional Nick Saban style, nothing on your helmet, plain black, white, and gold jerseys, plain black, white, and gold pants with the socks all the way up to your knees. You can't wear Nike socks.
No visors.
No visors. Nobody wears number 1.
No headphones and warm-ups.
No headphones and warm-ups. No false bravado. Just strictly business when it came to
Hand
the
the ball to
football
the
field.
ref when you score.
That's right. Very sportsmanlike and very old-fashioned when it came to the game of football. But with the kids nowadays, especially with the social media age, I think it's kind of hard for Trey Perry to follow Roger Perry's footsteps, but he is doing a dadgum good job at it. He is, adapting to what the kids are like now in 2018 and making it about, it's not about the individual player, but, putting, spotlights on the individual. And instead of like a full team, all team or nothing approach like Coach Roger Perry. But I have the most utmost respect for Coach Roger.
Absolutely. Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer. A winner, a true winner.
And a state champion
Absolutely.
at Portland.
That's right.
And it was number 7, Marcus Johnson, that got up, and he's limping off on his own power there. And, again, good to see there. But, yeah, I mean, you go from Roger Perry, the old-school head coach, by the book, just eats, sleeps, and breathes football, to a son that eats, sleeps, and breathes football too, but will also meet you on the battlefield in Fortnite. So a little bit different in terms of catering to the young players there. So, they've changed a lot of that. And, another thing that they've changed under Trey Perry that we've talked about is the ability and the decision to play guys on both sides of the ball. Something that Roger opted not to do for the majority of his time here at Mount Juliet is play guys on both sides. You kind of you played one or the other. You didn't play both sides, offense and defense.
Right.
For instance, like I've always said, a guy like Reed Gerchick at times was a great linebacker, but he only played quarterback unless it was absolutely necessary for him to go play linebacker. And there's plenty of other examples out there, but. Now under Trey Perry and this Mount Juliet coaching staff, you see guys like Marcelo Walton making huge plays on both sides of the ball, Michael Rutland making huge plays on both sides of the ball, Reggie Grimes, of course, and the list goes on and on there for guys that are playing both ways and playing almost every snap on both sides of the ball for this team, at least the meaningful snaps. And Marcelo Walton plunges ahead off guard and into the end zone. It's 30-0 Mount Juliet, 8:18 to go in the third quarter.
That's right. It's very key now for Mount Juliet with a 30-point lead to really focus on what they do on an individual assignment. Really work on get the reps that you miss in practice. Get the real live game reps and see how you do. You don't really get to see how your players are truly competing in practice. You're going against your own. Now when you get these full game reps, it's important that they stay focused on, executing here.
And don't take them for granted. Don't take them for granted. Just because you're up by 31 points, every rep matters. Still got to take every rep, like you're saying, play it 100% effort. No let-ups, whether you're a starter or you're a backup, and maybe some of the backups may have time to get in this game, and that's valuable.
Absolutely. And I don't think I finished that jersey story. I think I got off track there. It was my senior year. We showed up to Lebanon. We played Lebanon the first game at their place. And we showed up in our old traditional jerseys. We had the gold, old-fashioned with the old socks. We warmed up in them, and we go back to the locker room, and it was about 10 minutes to kickoff. Coach Trey Perry comes in with a big old box over his shoulder, and he said something along the lines of, we had a big year in the lift-a-thon that year. I think it was like around 50 to 60,000. Don't quote me on that. But, he was like, see what this gets you, and just brought out a jersey. It was a Russell jersey at the time. We didn't have Under Armour, but it had a logo on it, had the stripes, and that just got us all even more amped up to play that week 0 game. It was cool.
That's all an awesome story, Caleb.
Robert Green to hit the kickoff for the Golden Bears.
Right.
Ivy on the return.
Kickoff for McGavock's going to be brought out just past the 20 at about the 23-yard line, where they'll take over 1st and 10, down 31-0 here against Mount Juliet.
Grady Main getting in there for a tackle.
Oh, man.
Another one.
1st and 10, McGavock from the 22.
They're running through Mount Juliet High School. It's
They are.
Chase Main, Keaton Main. Now it's the youngest, Grady Main.
Yes, sir.
Looks like the starters are still in there for Mount Juliet on the defense. They certainly take pride in putting up goose eggs, so I'm sure they're not going to let up in any kind of a way.
Absolutely.
Throw to the outside in space.
Good move.
And you know, I think that McGavock has done a good job of formulating a game plan on what to do to attack this defense. They just haven't really finished any of the drives.
That's right.
But, you know, that's another quick throw to the outside. Shamar Kirk's had a successful night out there, and McGavock has athletes. If you can get those athletes one-on-one in space like they did right there, they can really make plays, and that was a nice job by McGavock.
Yeah, it's been crucial penalties and turnovers that's detoured them from getting the ball past the 50 and getting in the red zone.
Yeah.
And drop passes, I might also say. A couple balls that have hit receivers' hands that have fallen incomplete, or one fallen into Devin Palmer's hands for an interception.
That's right.
That's number 7, Marcus Johnson, on there, loss of 1, and he was shaken up in the end zone on the last defensive possession for McGavock, and good to see him back in there, but he did go to the sideline and kind of took his helmet off and put his hands on his hips after the run, so maybe still feeling some effects of that injury. They're going to get it to Kirk outside again. He cuts it upfield. He's got space. Ruzak saves a touchdown possibly by making the tackle in open space. But a great job right there. Again, getting the ball to Kirk in space, and he made something happen.
I'd say for Mount Juliet's sake, to prevent that play from happening again, bring those cornerbacks up, or whoever's on number 3. What's his name again? Kirk.
Shamar Kirk.
Yeah, Kirk. Yeah, put somebody a little more pressure on him maybe, and prevent that bubble screen from happening.
I know the coaches talked about his ability in the week leading up to this game, and they're well aware of his ability, and he's making them pay on a few plays tonight. And this is a big tackle by Ruzak again, a little chippiness after the play again, and no love lost between these teams for sure.
McGavock finding a little rhythm here, being more fluent on the offensive end.
Yeah, gaining yards in chunks.
2nd and 3.
Finally been able to run the ball up the middle for a few yards
And that
for the first time.
And like Shay said, getting that ball to athletes out in space.
Yeah, it's 2nd and 3 now. They're all the way down to the Mount Juliet 28, the farthest they've been down into Mount Juliet territory in the football game. And there's going to be a quarterback keeper. Tyler Neal's down to the 4-yard line. He gained 24 on the play and almost scored. Again, Ruzak was in there on the tackle.
Oh, wow. Helmet comes off. He's got to go out for a play. What do they do here? A backup quarterback has to take a snap for a play.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
I don't think Tyler Neal is very happy.
He's not at all.
Oh,
He's
wow.
He just got a flag thrown on him, and that's a killer. He is very visibly upset at something, and this young man is absolutely teeing off on the officials.
Refuses to leave not go off the field.
Yeah, you talked about the mistakes that they've made mentally, Caleb, and you break a 24-yard run, you get down to the 4-yard line, and then you bring it back 15 yards on an unsportsmanlike penalty. Just a careless penalty. And they're lining up number 42, Brandon Farrell, at the quarterback position. They're going to take a timeout.
Smart timeout by the head coach for McGavock there.
I still do believe that he has to stay.
He does.
For a play even after the timeout.
That's correct. And number 42 looked a little rattled out there.
Yeah.
Smart timeout by the head coach.
I will say I do believe that Tyler Neal was upset because I think he believed that this helmet did not come off.
That's right.
During the play. I think it maybe happened after, and he was trying to tell the referee that one of the Mount Juliet players maybe pulled the helmet off after the play was over, so he didn't think he should have to go out of the game.
That's right.
Just couldn't hold his composure after he was told that you have to go out on the sidelines.
I like the competitive nature, but I think he went a little bit too far there, fellas.
Yeah, a little too far. I mean, you always want to be in the competitive nature and the competitive spirit of the game, but you've got to show respect for the officials. It's okay to say something to them and sport your disagreement a little bit, but, the young man should have just, let his coach handle that, in my opinion. And
Absolutely.
If the coach disagrees with it, the coach is the one, I think, that should be getting onto the officials for a disagreement on the call.
That's right. That's right.
Because I will say, even at, in any sport, right, the referees in football, in basketball, and especially the umpires in baseball, I'm a baseball coach. I know those umpires get fired up, and they have a quick trigger, especially when a player has something to say to them.
That's right.
And they definitely want to hear it from the coach rather than the player.
That's right. But when you're playing a professional sport on the other end, if you're making millions of dollars playing this game, I think you have the right to get in a referee's face when you don't agree with the call here.
Yeah, Tom Brady could have said something.
Absolutely.
Fumble, maybe.
That's right.
And flags.
Oh, this game's getting a little bit chippy here now. Almost every play has some pushing and shoving after it.
The Bears need to be careful here. Don't get any unsportsmanlike conduct calls that could cost you another week.
Yeah.
I think it's important that Coach Perry sends a message to his players. Do not let what McGavock's doing affect your emotions. You got to stay in the moment, know your job, and know that you can't give in to all the chippiness that's going on there.
That's right. That's right. Understand you have a 31-point lead, and just let that lead speak for itself and just be focused on your assignment.
This is unbelievable. This is one of the things that drives me nuts, and I'm not a football coach like I stated earlier, but just as a fan of the sport, this is something that drives me nuts. I mean, you get down to the 4-yard line, and you take back-to-back unsportsmanlike conduct penalties, and now you are backed up in a 1st and 34 situation. I mean,
yeah. See when he got to the 4-yard line, a magnificent run, and that penalty just cost them ultra.
Yeah, I mean, it's 1st and goal, people. I mean, from the 34.
I think that is the first time.
And now number 17, the wide receiver, just irate, yelling at the official. That's Cavante Doris, upset that there wasn't a pass interference call on the play.
The fans aren't too happy either, Shay.
Oh, they're not. Yeah, they're not.
That brings up 3rd down and goal.
From my basketball announcing experience that I had last year, it might be a good time for Mr. Stewart Allison to make a sportsmanship announcement. I know the TSSAA puts those on the PDS for the announcer to say, and athletic director Mike Duncan certainly loves it whenever you make those sportsmanship announcements.
Oh, Mike Duncan, what a guy.
Michael Rutland on the tackle. They were going back to number 3, Shamar Kirk, on the crossing route, trying to get him in space again, and Rutland cut him down. That was a great play by number 4.
Great play.
I can't imagine that there are too many plays in the playbook for 4th and goal from the 32-yard line.
Yeah,
probably
got to go deep down in the playbook for that one.
Maybe a double reverse hook and ladder. I don't know.
Hit him with that 4 verticals here.
Yeah. I'll say something.
Works every time in Madden, right, Shay?
Something in the end zone here, fellas.
Let's see. Oh, they're punted it.
Wow.
Quick punt. And
well
it's gonna,
done.
Oh, wow.
I think it died right at the
goal line.
1, inside the 1, really.
Wow.
Nice job.
Yeah, very good job, and that was the best thing that could have happened for McGavock on that play.
Flag after the play.
Wow.
They absolutely were not going to get the first down, or the touchdown there on 4th and goal from 32. Best thing they could have done was punt it and pin them deep. And I hope for McGavock's sake they didn't pick up a 15-yard penalty and take this ball off the 1-yard line.
I don't know. The referee is writing something down, and that's never a good sign.
Yeah.
I don't really know if there's a rule for suspensions or something for unsportsmanlike conducts, but
wow.
Oh man,
huh?
Not good.
Let's see here if it's offsetting. Nope, it's just against Mount Juliet. They'll go half the distance to the goal from the 1 or inside the 1. I mean, it didn't really affect them in terms of field position, but still not what Coach Trey Perry and his staff want to see. He's upset down there yelling at defensive line coach Chase Allen about something, probably just communicating. Or I say yelling in his direction. He could have been talking to someone on the headset.
Could have been.
Might have been one of those moments where he's yelling at Howland, but really the message is being sent to the players as he's walking by him.
That's right.
Howland took it like a champ, though, I'll tell you that.
He did.
Always.
He knows how to handle
it. He did. Very calm and relaxed.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no. That is not good.
Might be talking safety.
I believe there's the signal.
Safety.
There it is.
So McGavock's on the board. It's 31-2.
Not a score here often.
Yeah. And Mount Juliet will have to punt the ball back to McGavock. So we talked about the decision to do the quick punt. It definitely paid off right there. They do the quick punt, pin Mount Juliet inside the 1-yard line, and they're able to get the loss on the trap play for a safety. It's 31-2. McGavock's on the board, and yeah, that's a big play.
A little swing from McGavock here, a little energy boost. See what they can do here. See if they can follow that momentum.
Yeah, a little bit of momentum here, so we'll see what they can come out with here and see if they can avoid shooting themselves in the foot on this offensive possession.
It's always hard too. As this is a tricky kick. I don't know if you can you put it on the tee in high school now on the safety? Did they change the rule where you have to punt it?
I'm not sure, Caleb. I've always known it to be a punt. I'm not sure if you can put it on the tee still in high school or not, or if you have to punt it now.
I don't think he has a tee in his hand. I think it is a punt.
Yeah.
And kicking it from the 20-yard line, I guess?
Yes, I think so. This could be quality field position for McGavock.
Ball takes a bounce, fielded at the 38 by McGavock. This is Kirk. He's to the 45, to the 49-yard line and tackled by Sal right there. Sal's fired up on the play. And, gets a pat on the helmet from head coach Trey Perry after that tackle. Good tackle in space on Kirk.
Good job staying in his lane right there by Mr. Sal.
At this point, for McGavock, I believe, maybe you don't come back and win this game, but you've come out in the third quarter, you put together some good plays on your first possession, and you're gaining some momentum, and that you're really just playing for pride in my mind, and some good feeling, when we talked about their tough schedule they have remaining for the season. So at this point, they're just trying to get some momentum moving forward, whether they win this game or not.
Absolutely.
That's number 34, Michael Pignone. On the carry, picked up about 4. It'll be 2nd and 6 for McGavock.
Ronnie Kramer on the stop. Pagone with the carry. Pick up a 4, 2nd down and 6. McGavock.
Low snap.
There's Tyler Neal, recovers on it and makes something out of nothing. Gains about 3. It'll be bring up 3rd and 3.
I believe that snap rolled to him.
Yeah, it looked like on the snap it clipped somebody's ankle or foot or something and immediately went to the ground. Good job by Tyler Neal to pick that thing up and get a few extra yards from what could have been a pretty bad turnover.
For any Pred heads out there that we have listening, I'm sure you're watching at home, but a PK Subban blast from the point puts the Predators up 2-1 in the third in New York. So
Gotta love it. I'm sure he went super bow and arrow after he put that thing in the net.
had to get that in there. Love the Predators.
Gotta love PK.
That's 2 out of the 3.
4th and 1.
Jace Bardeau with the tackle. McGavock with the carry. That brings up 4th down and 1. Let's hear it, Golden Bear fans.
So big play here. 4th and 1 for McGavock. Tyler Neal will work out of the shotgun. 3 wide. Pistol look, and
He put
play
his
clock
hand,
down to 2. Play clock down to 1. That's a delay of game.
the tight end put his hand in the ground
Flag on the play.
and then rose up. Is that?
I don't know if that's legal.
I don't think that is. I think they missed that penalty, and I saw Coach Curtis Graw going crazy on the sideline over there.
Yeah, this is another middle mistake for McGavock. 4th and 1 becomes 4th and 6 on a delay of game while you got 2 timeouts in your pocket. That's as much on the head coach as it is on the quarterback.
It'll be 4th and 6 for McGavock.
So 4th and 6. They'll still go for it, of course. Down 31-2. 2:12 left in the third quarter. Here's Tyler Neal, gets it out to Kirk in space, but not enough space.
Great gang
He
tackle.
swallowed up. Mount Juliet will take over on downs.
That is great ball pursuit by Mount Juliet defense there.
It sure was. Swarmed the ball on 4th and got off the field.
Great job by Rusek, Steele, and all the other Mount Juliet defenders right there. And you know what I also like to see? Mount Juliet up 31-2. These fans are still out here getting after it.
I love it.
Screaming loud, creating a good atmosphere, firing their players up.
Yeah, there's not too many crowds in this Middle Tennessee area like Mount Juliet football here. Not too many.
Got the cowbells clanging and banging.
And we got a flag, far side on the field.
The referees are not hesitant to pull that yellow flag out of their pockets tonight, fellas.
Waving it off. But I agree, Caleb, but probably with the way that that it's gone and the amount of extracurricular activity, the refs have to make sure that they maintain control of this game and don't let anything happen that gets anybody hurt or anything like that.
Great point.
That's Reggie Grimes on the carry. Gains about 2. Going to bring out 3rd and 3.
See, I like giving the ball to Grimes on the edge when he has that gap there. But I've really liked him seeing behind the quarterback there at the fullback position.
I agree, and I've touched on it a few times this year. And we've been broadcasting these games that Reggie's really, in my mind, the most effective when he's going north and south. And not necessarily side to side, but
That's right.
Keeping a mixture of however you can get Reggie Grimes the ball, it's probably going to be effective.
That's right.
In any kind of a way.
That's right. You don't want it to make it too noticeable that when he's at fullback that he's getting the ball going north and south. You want to put him in different spots so they can mix that up a little bit.
I believe this is Messenger in the game at quarterback.
A lot of the twos. Here's Harrigan. He bounces it to the outside. He's down inside the 30 at the 29. That's a gain of 20. Or a gain of 15, sorry. The scoreboard is incorrect there.
Bryce Messenger getting some reps
Sophomore.
Young sophomore.
First down. First and 10 from the 29-yard line.
We've talked about it a little bit this year with Messenger. Kid's got a lot of fight in him. He's kind of a chippy guy. Got a chip on his shoulder.
That's right.
I like that about him. I watched him a lot last year. Now it's in the freshman games. He's a good little ball player, man.
He is. Completely different style than Mixon. A little bit more of a pocket presence. Is an athlete for sure, but feels more comfortable putting it in the air than he does with his feet.
Right. But and in the wing T offense, and I may not be 100% correct, but to run the wing T offense, you don't have to be a mobile quarterback.
That's right. That's right. If you have good personnel on your wing backs and your halfbacks and your fullbacks that can carry the load, and you got a quarterback that is an athlete and that can get it to your guys in space and has good timing with your receivers, you're right. The quarterback doesn't have to be mobile. He can things will open up for the quarterback because your running backs are carrying the load.
Right.
Guys, I really enjoyed it tonight. You guys have been a fantastic couple to be around, and I don't know if it's in the near future, but I definitely hope that you guys invite me back, man. I enjoyed it. I was fired up today thinking about it. It was awesome.
Yeah,
it's
Caleb,
been a great
awesome.
success.
Been glad having you. And you've done a fantastic job coming out here for your first time. It's not like we're seasoned veterans, but
hey, you're just grinding, Mr. Tompkins. You're grinding out here.
I'm a grinder. That's what I do.
That's right.
We're out here doing it.
That's right.
That's a great run right there by Jamari Sal for a first down.
If they can put it in the end zone here, I believe that you will start seeing more of the twos.
Yeah, you'd get a running clock if they put it in the end zone here with the 35-point lead in the second half, which has been the case in a lot of Mount Juliet's games this year. Oh, wow. Just came up the middle untouched. Almost took out Messenger before the handoff there.
I believe that was a trap play. They were supposed to trap that guy with a pulling guard, and he just flew past him. He was too fast. So Mount Juliet goes to Hendersonville next week?
No.
Not next week, actually. Mount Juliet will finish the year with Hendersonville here in a game that could decide the region. But they're on the road at Station Camp next week.
Okay.
So that'll be another region matchup. Of course, this game against McGavock is an on-region matchup.
I knew they had to go across 109. I just wasn't sure if it was Station Camp, Hendersonville, Beach.
Yeah, Station Camp is who it'll be next week before coming back home to face Hendersonville the week following. As Grimes takes the pitch to the outside, he might have. Well,
another flag, late hit out of bounds.
I will say I disagree with that one. That was a tough call there, and I understand the refs are trying to get control of this game, but. Grimes was kind of going out of bounds, and the defender put a shoulder on him, but kind of eased up, and they threw the flag anyway. That's tough, but it's going to be an automatic first down for Mount Juliet.
People were bouncing off Mr. Grimes.
It's hard to bring that big guy down, man. That's for sure. I wouldn't want to be faced with the challenge of bringing that guy down. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, as much as there's criticism about his east and west running. It is I think it's a fact that it is very, very hard to take him down, no matter the circumstance, north and south, east or west.
Timeout, McGavock.
So I guess that we brought it up. It says McGavock taking a timeout here. I believe that, they go on the road next week, Station Camp, Mount Juliet does. And then, and probably going to be, more than likely from what I've heard, favored in that one. Should be able to take care of business there. And then probably coming home to play for the region against Hendersonville here in 2-3 weeks.
As long as Hendersonville goes on the road to Rossview and takes care of business, next or in 2 weeks, then that will be the case. So they do have to take care of business there. And then actually we did misspeak a little bit. Mount Juliet's next game is at Station Camp, but they're actually on the bye week next week. So next week will be an off week and an off date for Mount Juliet. The school's on fall break, so the football team will be off then. And then they'll come back to Station Camp on the 19th before finishing up with Hendersonville on the 26th. So, but yeah, like we said, if as long as Hendersonville on the 19th takes care of Rossview on the road, then the game against Mount Juliet will be for the region championship. Now, if Rossview were to beat Hendersonville, then they would need a Hendersonville win over Mount Juliet to force a three-way tie for the region championship. So, in all likelihood, Mount Juliet will be heavy favorites against Station Camp, and they'll be pretty comfortable favorites against Hendersonville as well. Very likely that they have every opportunity to be looking at another 10-0 regular season.
And a first round, possibly second and third round home games.
Yeah, so they'll be home. They're again matched up with Region 3-6A in the playoffs, which is that Murfreesboro region. Last year, of course, they went 10-0 in the regular season and drew Riverdale in the first round from that region. And Riverdale, in what I would call a slight upset, not much difference between those teams, but a little bit of an upset last year in the first round, came in here and beat Mount Juliet 20-14. But a lot has changed in that other region across town since then. That region's a lot more top-heavy this year, with Oakland and Blackman being excellent football teams. And then Riverdale and Cookeville and Siegel have taken a step back this year and aren't quite as strong as they were a year ago. Right now, it looks like Mount Juliet could be looking at Cookeville as Messenger plows in for the touchdown to make it 37-2. We'll have a running clock for the remainder of this game, barring a McGavock score. But yeah, right now, Riverdale did defeat Cookeville last week, 40-34, in a great football game to put their stamp on possibly finishing third in that region. The fourth place would presumably face Mount Juliet here, assuming Mount Juliet goes on to secure the number 1 seed in the region. So Cookeville, a very likely opponent for Mount Juliet in the playoffs. They'd play them here. And then, you'd possibly be looking at a second-round matchup with Blackman. And right now, if I had to say, I think Blackman's the third best team in all of 6A. I think Oakland and Maryville are, the cream of the crop and the teams to beat in the state playoffs. I think Blackman's right behind them, and Mount Juliet in that group as well, trying to chase Oakland and Maryville. And if Blackman is in here for a second-round matchup against Mount Juliet, this place is going to be packed.
Absolutely.
That's going to be one of the all-time scenes to see here at Mount Juliet High School if we're able to get a Blackman at Mount Juliet second-round playoff matchup. But a lot has to happen before now and then to get that. Just a possibility down the road. But if we're fortunate enough to see that game played here at Mount Juliet High School, it would be one to see and a great one to be in the building for sure.
Yeah, Shay, you briefly mentioned Oakland, man. I was at Independence, and they scheduled Oakland in week 0 at Independence this year. And, buddy, those guys in the white and red, they are athletic, they are skilled, they are disciplined, coachable guys that and they compete, and they grind, and they put an expected whooping on the Independence football team, and Independence is no slouch. They've got a Division I guy as a slot receiver going to Purdue, but just seeing the skill set and the athleticism of those guys, it's pretty unmatched in the Middle Tennessee area.
Yeah, it is. Oakland is, like we said, in Middle Tennessee, Oakland's the team to beat until they're beat. And Mount Juliet, like we said, is possibly going to look at another 10-0 season, but until they beat, one of those teams, that's the narrative that's going to be out there.
That's right.
That Oakland and Maryville are the teams to beat, and that Mount Juliet's on that second tier looking up at them.
That's right.
So they'll have every opportunity to do so. I think their elite defense gives them a shot against anybody.
That's right.
Because they can stop the run and play field position and, try to beat you that way. As we've talked about, the offensive threat that they are and can beat you in multiple ways there. But, they've got to do it, and they've got to go up there, and they've got to, prove some critics wrong. And prove that they can not only play with the teams in that region, but beat them and beat them consistently. And, you talked about that game against Independence. Oakland went to Independence and won that game 46-7.
Wow.
They lost a tough game all the way at Maryville, 24-21. But, just reading down it, Republic 70-8. At Riverdale, 49-6. They beat Blackman. Here's an interception. This is this is
Jace Pardue.
Jace Pardue, number 42 on the interception. And he returns it all the way to the 5-yard line.
These are things that these younger underclassmen guys need to do in order to get that confidence for the years to come. This is so crucial, these reps right here, and it kind of hurts your pride a little bit to go in at these times as a player, but when people execute and they do things right and they see it happen in a game setting at such a young age, it's nothing but confidence boosters for them.
Yeah, that's why you do it. It's why you go out there every single day of practice and put in that time. And even though you're not maybe one of the ones, even though I think Pardue gets out there a good bit, but still though, to see it happen out here in front of the fans and to make plays and make those kinds of plays. That's why you do it, and that makes you strive to get even better and keep working really hard.
That's right.
But I want to add in also to your point, Shay, talking about Oakland and what you guys are talking about, the playoff games. And some people may say, it's pretty unfair that Mount Juliet has to play such a hard team in like the second round after they put together a 10-0 season and are one of the top teams. But, that's just kind of how the seed's set up. And, if you want to be the best, you're going to have to beat the best, whether that's in the fourth round or if it's in the first round.
That's right.
To get where you want to get to, you're going to have to play them eventually, and you're going to have to beat them. So,
You're absolutely right, Zach. And, I don't hear too much complaining about it from Mount Juliet's coaching staff. I think that they know what it is, and they welcome it. They want to play those teams. They want to be there playing Blackman and Oakland and the Riverdales, and so
'cause that's the bar.
Absolutely. Right. And people talk about this schedule for Mount Juliet how it's weak, and they haven't played anybody, and they'll get crushed when they go play a team from Murfreesboro, and they eat that up. They love to hear that because it's just fuel in the fire for this team. And
that's right.
You want to talk about whether or not they can play with some of these good teams. Let's take Cane Ridge for example. Cane Ridge largely considered one of the best teams in all of 6A. They scrimmaged Mount Juliet in a preseason scrimmage. Warranted. A scrimmage isn't like a regular season game. Nobody's saying it is. But Mount Juliet beat them 42-7.
That's right.
So Mount Juliet can play with those teams. They can beat these teams. We certainly hope that we can get to see them play some of that top-notch competition come playoff time. We would love to see it, just like we got to see the old battles between Mount Juliet and Whitehaven back when you were in school, Caleb, and we'd love to see some of those matchups between the Murfreesboro schools and Mount Juliet now.
That's right. And when when coaches look at the game film, they don't look at their scheduling. They may glance at the schedule and see who they played, but they are watching the game film. It's not hard to, as a coach, to look at Mount Juliet, regardless of the opponent, to know that they are a good quality football team.
You're right.
And the scheduling it's hard to schedule those games because you want to keep your guys healthy for the playoff time. You want to keep your guys, ready to go once it comes, week 11 when it's the first round of the playoffs. So when you schedule these games, not only is it hard to get a good quality team to schedule Mount Juliet because they're so tough to beat, and it's a non-conference game. So I mean, it's really tough to get those non-conference schedule to the way you want it to prepare you for the playoffs. So I think Trey Perry does a magnificent job with the schedule. I think he's very smart with it, and he knows exactly what he's doing.
Jackson with the stop.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. And
Brings up fourth down, Golden Bears from the 5.
A lot of the times you schedule these games so far in advance, a team can change so much by the time the game is scheduled to when it's played.
That's right.
McGavock was a really good football team when this game was scheduled.
That's right.
They're 3-4, and you might look at them as a subpar out of region game. Overton, they were a perennial 8-win program when that game was scheduled, and then all of a sudden fell off the cliff last year and won one game. They're a little bit better this year with 3 wins, but these programs change, and
right.
unless they go out and schedule a team that's always at the top, like a Riverdale or a Whitehaven or somebody like that, by the way has to agree to play Mount Juliet.
That's right.
Then that's the risk that they take. But I think that they've done a great job. They play their schedule and they play it the best of their ability. And like we said earlier, they're coming in. They're not only trying to beat the team that's lined up across from them, they're trying to get better every single week because these coaches aren't naive in believing that they're going to run through everybody in the whole state by 40 points like they have much of their schedule. As a kick goes off the upright there, they'll stay 38-2. They know it's going to take more of an effort to beat those teams in the playoffs, and that's why they're so critical on little things in a game that's 38-2 with 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
That's right. That's right. And going with what you said earlier, Shay, that Oakland and Maryville are always constantly at the top. Mountain Juliet has the resources to be that type of program. I mean, if you look at that indoor facility that Mountain Juliet has, this football field, and it's designed for a good quality football program, and not only football, athletic programs in general. I mean, the resources that Mountain Juliet has is unbelievable. When you go elsewhere and you learn to deal with the resources you have at other schools and you come back to Mount Juliet, I mean, these guys are truly blessed. Truly blessed is what they have, and they are on pace to be a Maryville, be in Oakland, be programs like that.
I will also have to add into about these facilities. We have summer baseball tournaments over at our baseball field over there, and we have people coming in from all over the country, and every time they walk in here, they are just amazed. I mean, they're taking pictures. They are asking us, like, is this a private school? And we're like, no, it's a public school, and it's a lot of people that work together to make this place what it is, and a lot of time and effort and man hours that go into all these facilities up here.
That's right. And shout out to Coach Tompkins or Mr. Zach Tompkins for making the soccer field look the way it is. He is out there every day, every other day, cutting that grass to an inch.
Chowbay's trying to get me out there on the golf course. I'm like, man, I can't. I got to mow the soccer field, dude. What are you talking about? I got a job to do here. It's just grass, Tompkins. Man. We're coaches. Got to take care of this grass, baby. Who's number 8? Ashton Hurley. There's my hind catcher.
There's
on the baseball team, baby. That a boy.
Jalen James on the sweep. A little jet motion there. So we're nearing the end of the game, and got a minute 20 left. It's 38-2 Mount Juliet.
It's hard to commentate these scores, gentlemen.
It is. You got to talk. You got to talk a little bit more. And hey,
Yeah, hey.
That's fine. We're
It
just
is.
up here
We-
chit-chatting, giving the
hey.
people what they want,
That's
Chow.
right. That's right. We'd rather commentate the 38-2 score than a 2-38 score.
That's
true.
But I will say, as I guess my final piece before this thing's over, it's been a pleasure. I don't believe I've told Shea Flat this, but I will not be on the call for the Hendersonville game. I've got a family endeavor that I've had planned for a while, so
Must call for a substitute.
yeah, and so you know. But it's been a pleasure. It's been awesome. I've loved every bit of this, and thanks, shout out to Mr. Peach and the staff for putting this thing
Absolutely.
on and getting this thing, running off the ground. We've really enjoyed every bit of it. I hope the viewers have as well, and I look forward to maybe next year we might be talking about going on the road as well. Hopefully maybe we can get that set up and bring more viewership to the people that like to watch Golden Bear football.
Shay,
Yeah.
Zach, this is awesome stuff, man. You guys have got it rolling up here. This is good stuff.
Yeah, we appreciate you joining us, Caleb. It's been a pleasure. We've had a great time here tonight, as this is the last play of the game, and the clock will run out. Mount Juliet will defeat McGavock 38-2. I had to mess up one time there on the team name.
Glencliff.
Yes. So 38-2 is your final score for Mount Juliet, and like Zach said, thank you to Mr. Peach, everybody that's running this behind the scenes. They're the ones that make this happen each and every week. We thank all the viewers out there for joining us here tonight from Mount Juliet High School. Signing off one last time, the rice cooking in the microwave. Bears win 38-2. We'll see you next time as Mount Juliet hosts Hendersonville later in the month on the last game of the regular season. I'm Shea Flat, signing off with Zach Tompkins and Caleb Chalbay.
Bears win! The Bears win!
Love it.